What's up, people? It's your guy, Metamorphosis, and I'm back with another video as promised. There's been another coach, and can you believe it? Another coach takes a shot at Deion Sanders over the Colorado rebuild. This coach's name is Brent Venables. For you all who don't know him, I first heard of Brent Venables when he was a defensive coordinator for Bob Stoops at Oklahoma University, OU. That's where I first heard of Brent Venables. And now his journey has taken him to, I think, Clemson. Is it Clemson? I think it's Clemson. And now his journey has brought him full circle and brought him back to the University of Oklahoma, where he is now the head coach. So congratulations to you, Brent Venables, from going from a defensive coordinator now to a head coach. I hope this leads to other opportunities for you. Now, with that said, why are these coaches feeling compelled to weigh in on how Coach Prime is doing things at Colorado University? You'll have to go back and look at my other video regarding Coach Narduzzi. He's the coach at Pitt. And he had some similar things to say about the way Coach Prime emptied the roster and brought in his own style of players. For first-year coaches, they are allowed to do that if necessary. Scholarships are not what they were back in the 60s. I don't want to say the 50s, but I'm not sure. I'll say the 60s, 70s, and 80s. When you got a 4-5 year ride, it was the full ride. Short of you flunking out or just doing something that was detrimental to the team, it was a full ride. As long as you maintain your grades, you got the full ride. Now it's year to year. Some of it due to players making the jump to the pros a little sooner than they have been in times past, but that's what we have now. Okay, so the NCAA, you notice, has not said anything about Coach Prime getting rid of all of those players. I think it was 71. That number may or may be off, but it was somewhere in the neighborhood of 71 players. Unprecedented. But he didn't want to deal with that mentality. He wanted to bring in players with a winning mindset. Players that have experienced some winning. Coach Prime didn't want to deal with teams, with kids that had been on a losing team. They were 1-11 the previous year. The COVID year they went 4-2, and I think got spanked in a bowl game. But that was a shortened season. And I want to say the year before that, they may have been I think they were 4-8 in 2021. I think they went 4-8. They only won 4 games, and then last year they won 1. And Coach Prime had a decision to make. Was he going to try and salvage that roster or start over? He had an opportunity to revamp the roster, and he took advantage of it. Again, as I stated in my other videos, and please, when you're in your spare time, go back and look at some of them, if you will. He had to ask himself, do I want to salvage this roster or bring in my own players? He had the opportunity to bring in his own players. What Coach Prime did was bet on himself and bet on his staff to go out and get the players that he needed versus the players that he had. That was an awesome stroke of genius on Coach Prime's behalf that other coaches are trying to say is going to blow up on him. It's not going to work out. Now you see these prognosticators sitting on the fence. It's going to be either a whirlwind. It's going to either work out for him or it's not. Either way, he's going to be gone in 3 years. Whatever. The point is, and a lot of coaches, what concerns a lot of coaches is their own regents, presidents, and ADs are going to look at them and say, if Coach Prime is successful, why didn't you think of that? How is it that this man coached at JSU for 3 seasons or 2.5 seasons with the COVID year, and now he's at CU moving and shaking, and you all have been here X number of years and you haven't even thought of this? Why didn't you all think of that? That's what you see when you see these coaches like Coach Venables, and like I said in the beginning, Coach Venables has earned his bones. He's had his opportunities here and there, and now he's at OU, where he is expected to win every year. OU is not one of these programs where you can just come by and fly by the seat of your pants and hope you can get by. No, he has to win some ball games. So let's get to Coach Venables. Coach Venables said that he likes to give kids, what did you say? I gave guys 12 months of grace. I was unlike Dion. I gave guys 12 months of grace to figure it out. Now, you coming off a 1-11 season. They've just gotten rid of their what? They literally got rid of 2 coaches in the same season. They fired Coach Durrell in the middle of the season. They hired the OC. His name escapes me right now, forgive me. And they let him go. Now, he was hired on an interim basis. Now, they didn't give him the title officially, but he was brought in as a hopeful hire. If he could have turned the season around, that 1-11 season around, they would have hired the young man. This was the same coach that made a comment about there were good players on that team that Coach Prime was getting rid of. Of course you're going to say that. He brought some of those players in. I would stick up for those guys too, under the circumstances. You don't want to throw them under the bus. But Coach Prime, similarly, if you all watch Wild Kingdom and you see those lions fighting for the lead role, for the head lion, and whoever wins, that lion or those group of lions, they go around eating the babies of the previous lions. Pride. No, the mothers don't like it, but they know it's finna be a shakeup. They know that. That when those lions start fighting, those mothers will go run. They're heading off and to find those kids, those little cubs, because they know if they don't hide them somewhere, they will be eaten. Literally, people, they will be eaten by the lion who wins the final battle, who comes victorious away from that. They will be eaten. Now, that's a bit morbid for what we're talking about now, but the same principle applies. Coach Prime got the job. He was allowed to manipulate the roster the way he wanted to in his first season. This is a one-shot deal for Coach Prime. I said this when Coach Narduzzi made these outlandish comments about how Coach Prime shook up that roster and brought in his own players. Do you know the audacity it takes for a coach to give up that many kids on the strength that he's going to find the kids that he needs to start his own program? He didn't want to start with that group of kids. He gave them an opportunity. Now let's be honest now. He gave them an opportunity to show Coach Prime and the staff that they wanted to be there. They didn't. They were still stuck in the ways that got them let go. They were still walking around waiting for something to happen. He talked about that in their meetings. Obviously, a lot of people weren't paying attention. But back to Coach Venables. It says, Venables went off on several tangents while talking to the media. His attack on Sanders' style came out of frustration due to watching some of Oklahoma's targets go to Colorado. And there you have your motive. If this offseason has taught us anything, it's that certain coaches find Prime to be an easy target. It also means he's doing something right by changing the culture around him. Otherwise, people wouldn't care enough to say anything about what's going on at CU. On the other hand, if Venables isn't careful, a couple of losses could land him on the hot seat. So yes, he's losing recruits to Coach Prime, just like other schools are. But these coaches aren't sitting here picking at Coach Prime. This is unprecedented, ladies and gentlemen. I've never seen a season where coaches started taking shots at each other. Normally, I've seen it in the bowl season. You know, hey, we wanted that bowl like back in 2004 when Texas wanted to play in the Rose Bowl, when it was historically and traditionally a Pac-12 team versus a Big Ten team. That was the traditional Rose Bowl. But Mac Brown lobbied something he hadn't normally done. But Mac Brown knew his window was finite with Vince Young, and he wanted to give them the exposure they needed to catapult them into the college playoff football picture. I'm sorry, the BCS playoff football picture. And it worked out. And it paid off the next season. So kudos to Mac Brown for that move. But nonetheless, that was the first time I had seen coaches kind of not take shots at other programs, but hey, they lobbied for their team. These coaches now are taking shots at Coach Prime. And I would encourage you, Coach Venables, Coach Narduzzi, if you wouldn't do this with any other coach, and I'm not going there because I don't know you guys to be these type of men. So I'm not going to run there. I'm not going to run to that. Okay? I know what a lot of people would say, but I don't know you all. You all don't have a history of that, and you haven't demonstrated that. Although the optics are questionable. So, with that thought in mind, back to Coach Prime and Coach Venables. This is getting ridiculous, guys. You're less than 48 days away from the kickoff of college football, and you sitting here worrying about what someone else is doing at their university. I suggest you focus on yours. It's right around the corner. This month, July is almost over, and before you know it, August is going to blow through. And next thing you know, it's going to be kickoff for the college football season. And then we're going to see if Coach Prime's gamble has paid off. And that's what he should be judged on. Not what people think he should have done. He should be judged on the outcome of his season coming up, not on the way he handled it going into it. That's my take on it. Hopefully these other coaches will focus on their programs the closer we get to kickoff of the college football season, and we won't see any more nonsense like this. But if we do, I'll be back, I'll address it, and we'll talk about it. That's all I have for you right now. Again, thank you all for rocking with me this long. Hey, subscribe to the channel. A lot of you all, 90% of the people you all listening to my content haven't subscribed. Look, if it's something that I'm not saying or should say, put it in the comment section. And I'll do what I can to address it. I'm not going to be able to address every issue, but let's put it into the comment section and see where it goes from there. I'm trying to put out content that you all like and then will help me build up my subscribers. Let's try and work together on this. Let's try to have a happy medium. Okay? At the end of the day, I'm putting in the work, so I'm going to have to do what I can to continue to doing what I'm doing, but I also want to hear from you. Okay? So don't hesitate to leave a comment and some relevant, reasonable suggestions, okay, about how we can move forward. You all have a blessed day. I'm out.